Welcome back to my channel. Back on March 11th or 12th, the Philippine Antics channel posted a reaction to a video by Mike's Philippine retirement. I'll start with a particularly insane comment from Heidi, responding to her husband George, who had just said that Mike may actually believe what he is saying, thus, not lying.
It could be he actually believes it.
No. I watched him. He's reading from something. He's got his green screen going, which I don't understand why he couldn't just sit outside. But he's green screening Philippines in the Philippines.
I get that.
And secondly,
dude, just walk outside.
At some point, you can see that he's reading, okay?
Since Heidi just says no, she must believe Mike doesn't believe what he says, and thus is lying. But the insane part comes as Heidi gives her reasoning. We know Heidi has, over and over again, made scripted videos an issue as if they are inferior or worse. But that idiocy goes much further this time. Consider her reasons were, first, that he's reading from something. Exactly how does that make someone a liar? That's slander based on nothing. Absolutely nothing. But I guess to prove how crazy her attacks are, she continues by saying, he's got his green screen going, and wonders why he couldn't just go outside. But what does using a green screen have to do with being honest? I'll give you a hint. Nothing. But then Heidi goes to her second point, which is that you can see that he's reading. Isn't that exactly the same as her first point? Maybe Heidi should try scripting her videos to catch that silliness before she goes public. All that came from just 20 seconds of the 165-minute video. So you can imagine I have a lot more to document. And you're right, which will require more videos. However, for now, let's look at some general complaints they made about what Mike and other expats in Dumaguete chose for their topics, style, and format.
He's kind of tied up in that Dumaguete group, and they pretty much, in my opinion, regurgitate the same thing. Too stereotypical for me, the things that he's saying. And by the way, I don't know why he's on a green screen. I really don't.
Even if they do cover the same things, so what? People like Heidi making assumptions and spreading gossip aren't exactly unique either. But I love the too stereotypical remark. After all, look at how often Heidi plays the simp card to trash many men. Pretty sure that's a stereotype. As for Heidi's comment asking why Mike couldn't just video outside instead of using a green screen, let me help her out. First, that has zero to do with the quality or accuracy of a video. Yet Heidi keeps making an issue of such meaningless things. Next, I can think of reasons for using the green screen, including personal preference. Or maybe it was raining outside when Mike wanted to do the video. Or maybe it was windy, which can play havoc with the audio. In fact, I often see videos made by even some very successful vloggers who seem oblivious to the wind issue when they should know better. Or maybe there were other outside noise sources at the time. Or maybe he wanted to stay inside using a green screen because it would be more comfortable. So Heidi actually made an issue over something that doesn't matter. And she lacked the thoughtfulness to realize there are plenty of reasons to use a green screen. Now watch how they can misrepresent what Mike said about foreigners and their financial situation.
They can tell you have money because you're a foreigner in the Philippines. They assume.
Again, nothing against Mike, but listen to what he just said. They can tell you have money because you're a foreigner in the Philippines. This is coming from a foreigner. Not everybody that comes to the Philippines is rich.
Did you catch it? If you listen closely, you can hear Mike starting to add a very critical word before it was cut off. The word was assume. So let me provide what Mike said in full context.
They can tell you have money because you're a foreigner in the Philippines. They assume all foreigners in the Philippines have a pension, have money.
Oh, Mike wasn't saying all foreigners have a lot of money. He was saying that is what is often assumed by Filipinos. Sure, he could have been clearer with his first sentence, but the point is more than clear enough if the statement isn't cut off. By the way, Mike referred to money, not being rich. A lot of men who would be considered below average in the West financially can still be considered wealthy in the Philippines. But even then, not all are, and Mike never said they all were. Both Heidi and George are grasping for straws. Heidi does it again here.
We're back in the States. Maybe you couldn't afford to go out to dinner at a nice place. Couldn't afford to go there a couple times a month. You know, you're talking hundreds of dollars for a really nice meal. Where here in the Philippines, a really nice meal for two, and I'm talking about really nice, is going to be 1,500 pesos, 30 bucks.
Now that does add up really quick. Dating here can add up pretty quick too. You know, it can eventually, it just won't cost you as much.
That's just too funny. Math is your friend unless you are too focused on making any kind of attack at all. Let's look at details. Mike refers to paying hundreds to go to a nice restaurant in the West. From what I've seen lots of women say, they mostly expect you to spend that much or more. Mike says hundreds, so I'll use the minimum number for that, $200. And Mike says you can do it in the Philippines for just 1,500 pesos or $30. So, of course, Heidi makes the ridiculous comment that it can add up really quick there too. Let's see. For every $200 you spend for one dinner date in the West, you can do almost 7 dates in the Philippines. And you know what else? $200 each time adds up way faster than $30 each time. Heidi's ending comment of, "It just won't cost you as much," happens to be Mike's whole point. Way to go, Heidi. Of course, Heidi has to throw in some stuff about the Filipina P because, you know, she's not jealous of her. Really, Heidi has said she isn't, yet she can't stop talking about P. George is responding to a commenter who brings up the issue of alpha and beta men. Heidi's response is what matters.
It's the fact that they categorize themselves and they always have to put it out. I'm alpha. I'm alpha.
I wonder why the P does that. She's always talking about alpha and beta males.
Granted, this is a minor issue, but once again, Heidi is making a baseless claim. I knew P had not referred to this subject very often in the almost 5 years of her channel, so I made a special effort to check. Fortunately, most of the work could be automated. I checked all her subtitles and searched for alpha and again for beta. There were only 11 videos with either of those words, but it's really less meaningful than that. Can't count the one with a guest using it referring to kangaroos, nor the one about Tesla software. So that brings us down to 9. But of those 9, 6 only use either of the words one time, which means it was just a passing item, not a topic. Only 2 contain those words more than 3 times. Even that doesn't make them a major topic, but I wasn't going to take the time to listen to them. But even if they were the main topic, I submit that 3 videos that talk about alpha and beta men does not qualify as always, not when it's spread out over nearly 5 years and 500 videos. Heidi brings up simps far more often. I keep hoping I can move on to other subjects that interest me, but it seems there is always going to be another gossip or troll to replace those that are gone. Thanks for watching, and don't let the troll stop you from speaking out.